What I'd like to talk about is actually the principle of homeopathy today, and it's very mysterious. And what I usually do at the beginning of describing homeopathy is to go to the macro scale because the mysterious part about homeopathic remedies is that they get stronger the more diluted they are. And it doesn't make any sense, does it? Because if you think of heavy and big things, they're usually very strong. And if you think of small things in nature, they're usually very small. Until you start looking at the whole world and nature in a different way. I give you an example. Okay, so we know that when there is a boulder and the boulder is dropped, there's a certain force. And the boulder has to be big to develop a huge force. If you have a chemical and you take, let's say, gunpowder, you don't need as much of it to actually create a lot of damage, more damage than with the boulder. And then we go further and we go into nuclear power, and we know that we need very, very little to break an atom and actually create a very severe and destructive reaction. So in nature, it appears to be that the bigger things are stronger until you start thinking about chemistry and atoms and basically confirm and acknowledge that smaller things can get stronger. And that's where homeopathy is actually kind of different from, let's say, drug treatments and drug therapies. So that's the first part to remember when we think about homeopathy. Second is that when you look into nature, when you look into the universe, and let's imagine that we have the ability to travel in our dog's body, and you'll see the organs, and then you'll see the molecules of the body and the proteins and fats and carbohydrates, and then you go further and you see the elements, the minerals and the toxic metals and all that. And then you dissect those and you travel even further and you see the electrons and protons and parts of the molecules. And then when you get to the atom, it has even smaller particles. And when you get to the very end of the particles, it is just a vibration, electromagnetic vibration that is basically almost empty. They say that anything that is material in the world is actually 99.9% empty space. And everything is a vibration. And if you think about it this way, it doesn't really make sense until you start thinking about the fact that truly anything in the universe, anything, whether it's your coffee cup or whether it's your hand or your dog, is made of the same material, and that's the electromagnetic vibration. And when the atoms and protons and electrons and other particles actually vibrate, they create seemingly impenetrable and firm object. I compare it to a situation where you touch a fan that is spinning very, very hard. You will not be able to put your finger through it. You will hit a wall or hit the fan. The same things happen with the energy particles. When they vibrate, they actually create a sensation of impenetrable material, let's say a rock. So when I explain homeopathy, I always start with those two kind of phenomena. One of them is that the smaller, the stronger. And second one is if we travel in any object or any living animal, anything in nature, we get to the end and it's electromagnetic vibration. And the cool thing about that is that if we use the knowledge of vibration and electromagnetic waves, we know that if we want to neutralize a wave or vibration, we have to send equal vibration from the opposite direction. Give you an example. If you have two speakers and they oppose each other, I have to direct my hands in front of a camera, and you send one sound against the other speaker that is sending exactly the same sound, right in the middle, right here, there will be zero sound because these vibrations will actually cancel each other out, delete each other out. Now, I want you to think of your dog as a unit that has very unique electromagnetic vibration in the body, in the system, okay? And the electromagnetic vibration is very, very different from, let's say, the vibration of the cup on the table, or your desk, or your computer, or yourself. And now, let's say that a dog eats rat poison. Okay, he's a naughty boy or girl, and rat poison gets in the body. What happens? You have electromagnetic vibration of your dog plus the vibration of the poison. And if the vibration of the poison is actually stronger than the vibration of the dog, it actually overwhelms the body and the system. And if not treated, your dog can obviously die. So any disease from now on can be seen as a disturbance or as an addition of a vibration to the original vibration of your dog. Now, what do you do if you see that there is something additional that doesn't belong in the body, in the system? Well, you try to neutralize it. And this is where the difference is between homeopathy and conventional medicine. Because if you neutralize the vibration in homeopathy, you apply similar wavelength or energy vibration that will delete the additional energy in the body, the energy of the disease. In Western medicine, what we started doing a few decades back, or maybe 100 years back, is that we developed a system where we add additional vibration to the body, let's say a drug. And now we have the vibration of a dog plus the vibration of the poison plus the vibration of the drug. Now, in some situations, the drug can truly neutralize the energy of the toxin. Let's say in case of rat poison, it would be vitamin K. And the vitamin K is capable of deleting the energy of the toxin. So it actually, in a way, it acts homeopathically, or it cancels the venom or the toxin. But in other situations, let's say if you have steroid, or if you have other toxic drugs, hard drugs, or anti-diarrheal drugs, they actually create a situation where you develop further toxicity in the body. Even though the symptoms are suppressed, the body has to eventually deal with the energy of the disease. So it can be very, very tricky because while you want to have your dog healthy and ideally, optimally, no additional energy is causing a problem, you're adding other problems. And what happens in conventional medicine, uh, the drugs have two effects, two kinds of effects. One of them is the effect of suppressing, let's say, diarrhea or reducing inflammation. But the second one is the effect of adding the additional energy in the body, in the system, and we call them side effects. And in reality, they are only the effects of the drugs. Okay, so we have a situation where you add additional substance, you create another drug disease in a way that the body needs to detox or get rid of after it kind of recovers. And that's why often when I see patients, all you need to do is to actually stop the drugs, and the body actually gets better. Sometimes the system is so depleted that it does need additional support. But our goal in medicine and healing should be actually reducing the effect of drugs, and reduce the use of drugs, and allow the body to self-heal, either reset or us helping the body neutralize the energies. And that's where homeopathy comes to place. Now I'm going to go back in the electromagnetic vibration. Any living creature, a dog or a person or an elephant or a fish, have certain expressions. And if you are deciding on homeopathic remedies, you have to kind of look what is unusual and what is extraordinary about the expression of that particular dog. So if I have a dog that is going to be very tired and he's exhausted from chasing the ball too much, and suddenly I see that their muscles are painful and they're tight, I know that there is a certain homeopathic remedy based on the research that homeopaths have done that can neutralize the energy of symptoms that I just described, and it is phosphoric acid. Now, if you go into, let's say, situations when there is cold shivers, hyperactivity, um, very severe diarrhea, very severe vomiting, that's another homeopathic remedy, which would be arsenicum album. And some of you may think, arsenicum, isn't that toxic? Yes, it is toxic in the original form, but imagine that you actually take 99 parts of water and 1 part of arsenic, and you dilute it 100 times around. There's not even one molecule of the original arsenic. But what happens, the arsenic leaves an energetic imprint, energetic wave, almost like if you had a little magnetic strip in the water, like on your credit card. And when you give the remedy to your dog, it is capable of neutralizing the energy of the disease. So suddenly you have a situation where you actually do not give an actual physical substance. You give a homeopathic remedy, but the remedy is coated on top of the sugar pill, and it is capable of improving um, the state of a dog. And when I started studying homeopathy, I would not believe that that's possible. But acknowledging the fact that the more diluted the substance is, the more powerful it is, uh, and seeing some of the results, you just kind of go, okay, we may not know exactly how it works, but we see it work. I do not work with cats anymore, but I did have a lovely cat. Her name was Mina, and I adopted her very early on in my at the beginning of my life in Canada, and she was found she was found in on a street behind garbage bins, and one of my colleagues brought her to the hospital, to the clinic where I used to work as a technician before I got my license. And Mina kind of sat in the front reception, and then Christmas holiday came, and we didn't have any space to put her, and so my boss decided that she's going to stay in the bathroom, and that she's basically going to be fed every day, but she's going to be locked in the bathroom. And I felt really sorry for her, and I took her home. I, at that point, was very conventional. I fed her processed food, and I vaccinated her. And by the age of 7, she actually became hyperthyroid. And I, at that time, I was working in a different clinic, and I was studying homeopathy, and I decided to um, basically work up her case. And I came up with a very interesting remedy that had all the different components of her emotional and physical condition. The emotional component was that she was abandoned when she was very young, and she had absent mother, obviously. And the physical component was that she had hyperthyroidism. And so I gave her a homeopathic remedy, and you will probably laugh now. I gave her a homeopathic remedy made of table salt, sodium chloride. And her values of thyroid hormone became normal. And it shocked me. And I couldn't believe it, because normally you give quite toxic medicine, and it has many side effects. And here I was, my cat got better on sodium chloride homeopathic remedy. So I took, over the course of next few years, I took about 15 cats, and learned that, and treated them the same way, and learned that about half of them reversed. And the ones that reversed were the cats that were in starting stage of hyperthyroidism, and it was really wonderful because I could actually have the data and the lab data, and I could publish them. And if you go online and you search for Peter Dobias hyperthyroidism or hyperthyroid study, it still should be somewhere online with the proceedings of the World Small Animal Veterinary Conference. But what I wanted to say is that sometimes the people who speak against homeopathy and energy healing, they really they use the they use the notion that we have no scientific proof. And here I was having a small study of cats that actually half of them improved on sodium chloride as a homeopathic remedy. Now, um, I've explained to you that homeopathy is kind of complex, and I think that it would not be wise of me to make you believe that it is as simple as that every time. I think that it's a medical discipline that should be researched. It has been actually studied for the last 200 years, and some of the changes and shifts that I've seen were kind of dramatic. I have seen a few patients that had malignancies and they would disappear, but it is not that you can repeat these results reliably every time, and that's the problem. That homeopathy has been marginalized and it hasn't been researched because drug companies see it as a very big threat, mainly because it's inexpensive, and they just basically do not want to have medicine full of substances that can help but cost nothing or very little, and that would destroy the whole premise of medical system and healing system being a big business for drug companies. So that's an issue. The country that has been kind of untouched until recently by drug companies was India, because there was no money in India, and homeopathy was one of the disciplines that have developed very much. The royal family, the British royal family, uses homeopathy, and we know that they have a very good history of longevity and doing well. I personally have used my homeopath for the last 12 years, and have just reached 50 last January and feel really good as well. And it is not the only discipline, because I think that when it comes to healing, we really have to focus on the whole healing cycle, and that is detoxing and cleansing our body, eating the right food, and that applies to our dogs as well. Then providing the right nutrients, minerals, vitamins, omega oils, probiotics at least, and to do a cleanse, and then aligning our energy flow and balancing our energy through exercise and yoga and going to a chiropractor or homeopath. Now, it seems like I'm talking about human medicine, but the same applies to our dogs. And it is just a really wonderful thing to see that when it comes to real healing and real medicine, it can be transferred from one species to another. When you look at drugs, they're quite specific to each individual species, because cats, for example, would die after using certain drugs, and dogs would too. And that tells you that conventional medicine is basically medicine that is not connected to nature, that is not reflecting the natural principles of healing. And yesterday I was at a meetup here in Vancouver with a raw feeding group, and we were talking about how beautiful healing is, because it is very similar to what nature does, let's say, with water. If you think of water cycle, it's a perfect cycle of cleansing and purifying. Water cleanses everything around it, and then it ends up in the ocean and it evaporates. And the ocean also processes it in such a way that it ends up clean again, and that it falls on the land again. And that's what you should be doing with your dog, repeating the healing cycle of detoxing, providing nutrients, aligning the spine, making sure that your dog is free of the foreign energies that I was just describing a few minutes ago, and then repeat the cycle whenever needed. And that's about it.